What's going on, guys? We got another video for you. Let's get into it. All right, so what we got tonight is, looks like we got a friend back from the dead here. This is the Arccaptain TIG 205 Pro. This is the same machine that I blew up before. And Arccaptain was good enough to send me another. So I'm gonna try not to blow this one up. So just like is always the case, I'm not just gonna do a review on this. I'm gonna use this machine on a project here in the shop. I've got some stainless steel exhaust manifolds sitting over here on the floor, and I need to get those knocked out today. So we're going to use our TIG 205 Pro here to see if we can't get these welded up. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this and let's see what we got inside. Looks like we got our TIG torch there with our finger control. Ground cable, stick lead, gas hose. Look at that. Another machine cover. Like I said before, one of my favorite things about what Arccaptain's doing right now is they include a cover with their machines. And that's something I really appreciate because I like my stuff to stay nice. And one of the things you can do to help keep your welders nice and clean is keeping a cover on them. Looks like we got some stickers here and a manual. Inside this bag there's a piece of, looks like 16th tungsten. One of the things that I'm really impressed with about this machine is how little it is. I'll bet it doesn't weigh, I'll bet it might weigh 15 pounds, maybe. Pretty cool. I can see how it would be extremely convenient to be able to take a machine like this, of this size and this weight. If you had to pack it in somewhere, if you were doing a mobile job, this would be pretty dang handy to be able to get in there. So with your Arccaptain 205 MIG, you're also going to get your adapter plug here to go from 240 to 110. Arccaptain did reach out to me after the previous incident with my other TIG 205 Pro, and they did give me clarification. When you're switching power from 240 to 110 or vice versa, you should give it 10-15 minutes to sit before you switch voltages, just to be safe. That's what they instructed me, and I'm gonna do that. I don't want to blow up another one. So it's a good idea to just give it more time than necessary, just so that you're sure that everything is shut down in the machine and clear. Then you're free to go ahead, change voltages and plug it back in, turn it on. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. I'm just gonna go right straight to 240 on the voltage because I've got an actual job that I got to get done. So I'm not gonna screw around with 110 at this point. We will do some tests with 110, but for today, we're going to be running 240. So I'm going to grab my cord, get this hooked up, and then we'll power it up, see what the interface looks like. All right, so we'll go ahead, get our TIG torch hooked up here. Okay, so here's what the plug's going to look like that comes with your machine. You got 3 plugs that you need to plug in here. You got your gas hose, you got your DINS connector, which is just going to go in your negative side. Okay, so we'll plug our DINS connector into the negative side. Our gas connection screws in right here. And then this one here looks like it's a 5-pin connector. It goes right here. This one here controls the finger control on your TIG torch. Then we'll take our other DINS connector for our ground clamp. And that one will go in our positive side. All that's left to do now is we got to hook up our gas hose on the back of the machine. I'll give you a look at that. So this is our connection where our hose will hook in that goes to our gas bottle. We're going to be running 100% argon today. I'm using a little bit longer hose so that I can run it over to my bottle. So we'll snug both this one and the one on the front of the machine up with a 11/16 wrench. Okay, so when you buy this welder, it's going to come with a package of consumables like this. So it's some accessories for your TIG torch, and it comes with a number 6, a number 4, a number 5 ceramic cup. It does come with some different size collets and some back caps, which I am going to use the back cap here. So there's nothing wrong with these consumables. They're going to get you started, which is great. But I do have a preference, and I'm going to show you how I like to set up my TIG torches. So for welding stainless, I like a lot bigger cup. This is a number 12, and it's a Furic number 12, and it works really well for welding stainless. You get really good gas coverage. If you are going to use Furic consumables on this style torch, you need their adapter kit. So it would be an adapter kit for a 26 style torch. This is what the adapter kit comes with. So you've actually got a stubby gas lens there, and then there's a collet there, and then the adapter on the back, which will make it so that you can put those consumables in this style torch. There's what my torch setup looks like. For welding stainless, that's a game changer right there. Get really good coverage. You got that nice big cup on there. It helps a lot. Okay, this machine has a solenoid inside that allows you to run the finger control, and as soon as you hit this finger control, the solenoid kicks on and releases the gas. Hopefully you can hear that. And then it's got settings on it to where you can change the post flow. I think right now it's set on 5 seconds. So that's pretty nice. So today we're going to run our machine just to start out. I'm going to start it at 95 amps. Your amperage range on 240 goes clear up to 205. There's your post flow adjustment, so it's actually set on 8 seconds. We'll probably knock that down to, we'll leave it at 6 seconds. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is on this machine. This machine has the capability of using Arccaptain's new application on your cell phone. So I'm going to pull up the Arccaptain app here. It shows my TIG 205 Pro right there. It just popped up on the screen. So it says it's disconnected. So we're going to try to connect it here. Perfect. Okay, so what I did is in the top corner here, there's 3 dots. I selected that, touched the machine that I wanted to connect, and hit connect, and it says we are now connected. So it shows that my machine is on, it shows that I'm in 4T, and it shows that I'm on DC TIG mode. So it looks like I can scroll through the modes here. So there's a TIG mode. It shows you how to hook up the machine. If you go to stick mode, it shows you how to hook up the machine for stick mode. That's pretty handy. So we're going to go back to our TIG mode here. Okay. Looks like you can adjust welding time. You can adjust your post flow and interval time. Okay, so there's 3 options here at the top. There's panel, digital control gun, which would be your TIG torch, and then your foot pedal. We're going to select digital control gun because that means your finger control on your TIG torch. Welding current is at the bottom. You can see the machine right now says 205. So I'm going to get on my phone here and I'm going to select that, and I can actually slide this bar down, and I'm going to go to 95 amps. Boom! That's pretty cool. The thing I think is really cool about the app is if you're underneath a trailer or you're in a tight spot, or maybe you're just sitting down and you're perfectly comfortable and you don't want to get up, you can pull your phone out of your pocket and adjust the amperage instead of having to walk around the table or get up and turn around and walk behind you to adjust the machine. So I think that's pretty cool. So now that we have this adjusted and now that we have it hooked to our app here, we're going to go ahead and try it. So right here at the bottom of the main screen, there's a user manual button. So if you click on that, there's your user manual for your machine. And thank goodness they put that on there. So it's just like I talked about before, they're making improvements constantly, and that's a good improvement right there. So you've got your user manual right there on your phone. If you have a question on what some of the functions are on your machine, pull up your user manual, bam, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get set up. I'm gonna get the exhaust manifold up here and we'll give this a try. All right, we're gonna be using 1/16 stainless steel TIG rod today. So the first thing I want to do is prep this stainless. So it's got kind of a tarnish on it. It's not really rust, but they tend to get quite discolored because of the heat that they're always under. So we'll go ahead and grab our little Scotch-Brite pad on our die grinder and we'll clean this up, clean up our joints. And I may put just a teeny tiny bevel on this, and I'll just use my Scotch-Brite pad for that. We'll get it all prepped up and then we'll come back to you when we're ready to weld. All right, the customer did us a solid and went ahead and marked this where it goes. So I know exactly where it broke. So I'm going to go ahead, try to get a tack on this. There we go. Let's get a couple more tacks on it. Goodness. I must say it is giving me a pretty crisp arc start. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up for purge. I'll do that off camera. When I get that set up, I'll come back to you. Alright guys, we got our manifold all taped off here. Purge hose in the back. I was trying to decide if I needed to gouge this out, but I think this material is so thin and it's going to be fairly hot running at 95 amps. So I'm not going to gouge that out. I'm going to run a little bit, see how it runs. So, fire in the hole. So she is running a little hot. I'm going to turn it down to maybe 85. It is getting good penetration though. The arc is nice and smooth on the machine. I'm going to grab something to help me. Whoa! I'm going to grab something to help me position this real quick. .85 amps, running pretty good. You'll notice I keep my TIG torch held over the weld after I'm done welding so that the post flow can continue to shield the weld until it's cool. You want to make sure you do that with mild and stainless. It's not as important with aluminum, but with mild and stainless, until that puddle is cooled, you want to continue to shield it. Okay, so I've welded the whole way, all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. Now that I have this repair done, the customer wants some anti-vibration flanges welded onto this so that when he wants to take it apart, he can take the clamp off the flange and pull this apart. This is what an anti-vibration clamp looks like. It's stainless steel, and it actually works the same way as a sanitary fitting. So it should be pretty straightforward. We're going to be able to weld this on the end here. On this other end, we'll take a brand new piece of stainless exhaust tubing and we'll make a full weld all the way around that. All right, I'm going to clean this up and then we'll give you guys a look. All right, hopefully you can see this. Turned out pretty dang good. Old stainless, especially stainless that's had heat put through it for a long time, is hard to weld and it's hard to make look pretty, but I think that's going to work. All right, so now that that's repaired, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of these stainless steel flanges, and it actually has a little shoulder on the inside here. So we're going to set that in there where it's nice and tight. Fits good. I've checked that this is square, and it is. I've buffed off the outside surface here where we're going to be welding with some Scotch-Brite. So we're all prepped up and ready to go. So I'm going to see if I can tack this. Oh yeah. When I tack something like this, usually I like to go in 90-degree increments, so I'm going to put a tack here and here as well. That trigger is pretty nice when you want to tack. Got our tacks on there, everything's tight, looks good. And then I'll try to bring you guys in close on this next one and give you guys a look. Okay, I don't know what you guys are going to be able to see, but hopefully you can see that a little better. So let's see how this second weld goes here. It is just a tad hot. I'm going to go down to 75. Let's see how that is. There's something in that exhaust that keeps popping. It's definitely a little bit contaminated, I can tell. Okay, hopefully you can see that. But it turned out pretty dang good, I'd say, for being some old heat-treated stainless. The next step is going to be taking a little bit of that stainless steel exhaust tubing, just a small piece, and we'll weld that to this flange, and then we'll have to weld that to our flex tube. And that's going to be tricky because that stuff is really thin, so it's probably just going to be some stitch welds holding that on. The customer knows that's probably going to be the case. I ran it by him, he said that's fine, no big deal. So when I get to that next step, I'll come back to you and show you what I'm doing. Got a piece of tubing cut here, and then I've got my other flange. So I'm going to weld these two together. I'm going to throw it in the weld positioner, and I'm going to turn on the pulse on this machine. I just want to check it out for fun, and we'll see how it does. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tacked up. Once I get this tacked up, I'll come back to you and show you what I got set up here on the weld positioner. Okay guys, so I've got this all set up here, and hopefully I can explain this to you so that it makes sense. So I'm going to show you the screen, I'm going to show you what my settings are. Okay, so here's what I got. I'm on cold TIG mode. You can see it says cold TIG mode there. If you go through the modes, cold TIG mode, okay? I've increased my amperage to 125 amps. The reason I did that is because it's not giving you your full amperage the full amount of time in a full interval. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I go to FN here and I hit T-weld, it says 500 ms. I believe that's 500 milliseconds. I don't know that for sure, but that's what mine is set to. So if you go to this T-takt, T-T-A-K-T, it's 0.3 seconds. So that's the interval between pulses. 0.3 seconds between intervals. And then it's 500 milliseconds. I'm not sure why it's in milliseconds, but I believe it's 500 milliseconds when the pulse is on. So it's staying on for 500 milliseconds. It's 0.3 seconds between pulses. So that's what I have it set to, and I got it about perfect now. So we'll go over here, I'll run one, and then we'll show you guys what we got. Got my trusty little strong hand tools rest here. So I'm gonna rest my hand on this, and then I'm just gonna kick the weld positioner on, and I'll start this. As long as I hold the trigger down, it will just continue to pulse. All right, so here we go. Okay, I won't lie, it was a little bit rough of a start, but once I got the hang of it, it actually ran pretty dang good. Our heat marks on the inside are about perfect, so I know I got good penetration, so hopefully you can see how that turned out. So that one wasn't perfect, but I'm still getting the hang of it. So I was just using a lay wire technique. If you don't know what a lay wire technique is, it's where basically I just lay my wire right there in the corner, and then I let the TIG torch melt the wire, and then it will kind of wash it into the corners, and I just lay the wire there and walk the torch over the top of the wire, and then this is what you end up with. So I gotta say, the cold function on this, pretty impressed. To be able to have a machine at this price point that does pulse and high frequency start, it's pretty crazy. So I'll show you guys what the benefits are. So here's what it looks like. It's not perfect, I'm still trying to figure it out, but that's pretty dang good. For a welder that costs what that one does, pretty impressed. So now I'm going to show you the inside, and I'm going to show you why you would want this function. So you can see there's some heat marks there. Hot! Hopefully you can see it. But it didn't sugar, and it didn't blow all the way through to where it would cause a whole bunch of nasty sugaring and make it look like crap. The situation that you would want this cold TIG function is if you're welding thinner material, and you can adjust the machine to have the right interval that you need for the thickness that you're welding, as well as the speed of the pulse and the amperage. You dial all that in. You don't have to have a weld positioner for that. You can run pulse on something flat. You just walk your hand as the TIG torch pulses, and it will give you a similar stacking dimes type look. So it's pretty amazing, honestly. I'm impressed by the machine. If you're looking into getting into TIG welding, I would definitely check out this machine. Get on the computer, go to Arccaptain's website. I'll show you guys the ad for this machine right now. This is the TIG 205 Pro. Get on there and check it out. With the functions that this machine offers, especially if you're someone that's wanting to get into TIG welding, it's not going to break the bank. Pretty impressed with what it'll do though. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me use this machine in a real world scenario. I run a business, so where I do it professionally, I can honestly tell you this machine is pretty capable for the price point. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one. This is the Arccaptain MIG. No, I'm not just going to do a review on it. I'm also going to use it here in the shop on a practical. Goodness. Okay, so I'm going to open the All right, so I'm going to open the Arccaptain app here. What you'll do is it'll pulse, and you can weld. You can run pulse in the flat position.